Welcome to the Money is Emotional podcast with Christine Luken, the financial dignity coach. In this podcast, we help you recover a positive and peaceful relationship with your personal finances. We do this by bringing together wise money management with emotional intelligence. Join us for this journey where we navigate our relationship with money as Christine Luken draws from years of experience and guest experts to help you get to the root of your money issues.
Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the Money is Emotional podcast. I am your host, Christine Luken. Today's episode is part 2 of hiring and working with a financial advisor. If you haven't listened to part 1, feel free to stop right here and listen to it right now. We'll be waiting for you when you're ready to rejoin us. In today's episode, we'll discuss the fiduciary standard, financial advisor red flags, and more. Let's get to it. The other question you should ask is, do you have clients just like me in similar life situations? The reason you want to ask this is that you don't want to be your advisor's unicorn. You want your advisor to have 50 people just like you in similar situations. So, for example, I've had some clients who own rental property. I tell them, I highly advise that you hire a financial planner who is either personally invested in real estate or has a lot of clients that are real estate investors,
Oh, makes
because
sense.
they will understand your entire financial picture and they will understand that those pieces of real estate are part of your retirement portfolio.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So, if your advisor starts saying things to you like, you know, y- you're my top client as far as net worth, or, wow, you've really got a complicated financial situation.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. No. Red flag, red flag.
Yes. You do not want to be their unicorn. You do not want to be the guinea pig that they learn on. Now, here's the thing. There's probably still going to be some questions that you throw at your financial advisor that they might not know right in the moment. Now, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're their unicorn. So you just want to ask and say, like, hey, if you're, if you're a law firm owner, do they have other clients who are law firm owners? Do they
Yeah.
understand your industry? You don't want to be their unicorn. The other question you probably want to ask them is, do you follow a fiduciary standard? So
Mm,
someone who is bound to this has to act in the best interest of his or her clients and place their best interest before his or her own. Now,
what,
we
what
assume
does that mean? Because that gets thrown around a lot, Christine. I don't mean to interrupt you, but people are like, yes,
I
I follow a
know.
fiduciary standard. And it's like, oh, that's great. That's a multisyllabic word. That's really nice to know that you know big words. But what does that really mean, honestly?
I mean, honestly, if you can prove that they have selected investments in their best interest instead of your best interest, you can sue them. You
Mm.
can sue them over that. So
Yeah, we don't
it
want to do that,
used to
though.
be it used to be that everybody went by the suitability standard, not the
Okay.
fiduciary standard. So they just had to prove that an investment was suitable for someone like you in your financial situation.
Yeah.
So with the fiduciary standard, they have to prove it is in your best interest and there can't be an upside for them. So people with a fiduciary standard typically cannot accept commissions on any product.
Huh.
So
Okay.
basically they can't sell you something that they're making a commission on.
So they're not likely they're not going to be selling you insurance products.
Yeah. Well, now here's the other thing too that I want to mention. Just because someone is not bound by the fiduciary standard, so people who
Yeah.
have the CFP designation, they have to. They have to abide by the fiduciary standard.
CFP
An
being CFP.
advisor, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say CFP being certified financial planner, right? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of hoops to jump through. They have to know a lot of things in order to pass that. It's not an easy designation to get. I've had several
No,
friends who have gone through it. It's kind of like passing the bar exam. It's not easy.
no, it's difficult. It is difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. So you may have an advisor who is not a CFP who follows the fiduciary standard, even though they are not legally required to.
Okay.
So just because they don't have that designation doesn't automatically mean that they don't have your best interests at heart. So that's just something to understand.
Good.
When you make your final decision, look at the facts. How are they paid? What kind of experience do they have? Do they have other clients like me? And also trust your gut. Like if you have a bad feeling about somebody or a good feeling about somebody, take that into consideration because there's probably a reason why. And it's a lot less woo woo than we think. I was
Hmm.
just reading an amazing article on intuition, and they say, a lot of people say like, "Oh, this intuition's like this magical thing." It's actually more of a subconscious thing.
Yes.
So what happens is we have been collecting data our entire lives about what things are safe and what things are dangerous and storing it down in our unconscious mind so that we can avoid dangerous situations. That's part of the hardwiring of our brains as humans. If you have a good gut feeling about someone, there's probably some unconscious cues that you're picking up on. It might be that this person communicates in a way that is aligned with you. If
Hmm.
you don't have a good gut feeling, it might be because this person really doesn't like being an emotional support to people. They just want to pick investments. But trust that, especially if you're looking at 2 to 3 different advisors, take that into consideration. But also check the facts. Use FINRA's broker check to make sure your advisor isn't in any legal or financial trouble. So we're going to link that up in the show notes. You can put your advisor's name in if they've had any lawsuits relative to investments. If they've been in any legal trouble, that will be on there. Now,
Good resource. Yeah, good resource.
if you're looking into financial planners and the person that you like has a bankruptcy 10 years ago, ask them about it. I mean, maybe he or she went through a terrible divorce 10 years
Fair
ago.
point.
You
Hmm.
know, ask the questions because there is 2 sides to every story. Now, if they've got a rap sheet, a whole page, and you got to scroll several times,
Yeah,
you
you
probably
don't
want
need
to
to
run
ask any more
away.
questions. That's different. That's a
No,
different
you
deal.
don't.
That's a different deal. Well, you've been going through some listed questions and stuff, and knowing you, you've got to have a resource for people who are listening to this who aren't making notes. So,
Yes.
where can we find, or can we find a little list of these
Mhm.
questions for to check against?
Yes, I have created my handy checklist of the 10 questions to ask your next financial advisor. So you can print that out and take that to your interview. We've got that all linked up in the show notes. So you don't need to worry about remembering a link. You can just click the link down below and get your hands on that so that you'll know all the questions that you want to ask. The other thing I will say is during an interview, if your advisor doesn't ask you questions,
Mm.
and isn't listening at least half as much as they're talking, that can be a problem too. If you feel like they're in sales mode versus getting to know you mode, of course they are going to tell you, here's my experience. They're probably going to tell you something
Yeah.
about their firm, but their job is to get to know you to see if they can help you. So if you're sitting in a meeting and you're asking questions and they're answering in one or two word answers and then they're shifting into sales mode, that's probably your sign that it's time to move on to your next
Fair point.
candidate.
I would imagine too that listening is a key part of the relationship to ensure that it's a long-term relationship as well.
Absolutely. Yes, because you do want a long-term relationship with this person. You do not want to be interviewing and hiring financial planners every 2 to 3 years. That's not fun. You want to meet and communicate with this person on a regular basis. There's so many financial planners that I meet with who say at least half of the people who are my clients, I can't get them to even sit down and have a meeting with me once a year to talk about their investments.
Hmm.
You
Ooh.
need to be sitting down at least once a year. And in the interview process, that first question, what am I getting for this fee? Part of what I'm getting for this fee should be regular communication with the
Yeah.
advisor. So you want to ask them, so does that mean we meet once a year? Does that mean we meet twice a year? For many people that do the annual fee, usually that has more structure built in where they'll say, yes, for your fee of $2,500, we meet twice a year. If you need follow up via phone or email, you've got X many minutes per month or per quarter, and it's very, very much laid out. But then you will have other people who are very casual about that. So my advisor basically says, if you got a question, just call me whenever, and I'll call you back as soon as I can.
There you go.
But he's a talker. He loves to talk.
Yeah. Well, our
He's
financial
very
advisor's
social.
a little bit nudgy. Our financial advisor's a little nudgy about meeting with us.
Right.
You know, Bill, we haven't met in a while. I'm like, I'm fine. No, we really should meet.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, the other thing you want to do when you're meeting with them is you want to be honest about what is going on in your life, financially and otherwise. Sometimes when you're with your advisor, they're going over your investments. If you've got some other major financial upheaval that's going to happen, like maybe your spouse is thinking about quitting their job because they hate
Mm.
it and starting their own business, or they want to downshift to part time, or you're caretaking elderly relatives like my husband and I are. It's like you want them to know your life situation because your money doesn't happen in a bubble. Money is affected by the things that are going on in your life, and that includes your investments. So when you bring these things up to your advisor, first of all, they may have suggestions for you. They may have referrals for you. Most of the financial planners that I know are very well networked. So if you need a CPA, if you need a real estate agent, if you need someone, a business coach for your wife because she's going to start her own thing, that they can be a great resource for those kinds of things. But just also knowing what's going on in your life, that's going to help them be a better financial planner for you.
Mm. Yeah. So you want to be as open and honest with your financial advisor as you want them to be with you, is what I'm taking away from that.
Yeah, exactly. And ask them questions if you don't understand. They have a tendency to use acronyms, right? And I love that you stopped me after saying CFP because some people are like, what is that?
Yeah. And by the way, By the way, having asked a lot of those questions in my life, there is zero wrong with asking questions when people say things that you don't understand. That's just really, really important.
Yeah, and he or she should be happy to help educate you and recommend resources for
Mm.
you to learn.
Dare to enter the Wealthy Woman Book Club, where answers exist to forbidden questions, where women of all ages and income secretly gather, where knowledge is shared, where possibilities are explored, where women claim their power. Dare to stay a spell in the Wealthy Woman Book Club. In this place, we lift each other up. In this place, we start dreaming again. In this place, we see financial miracles. In this place, we grow through the glory and the failure. In this place, we step into a new identity. Dare to champion the Wealthy Woman Book Club. We're creating a future where women are financially empowered across the globe. We're creating a future where our daughters stand on equal financial footing with our sons. We're creating a future where we purchase with our principles rather than price tags. We're creating a future where we use the power of money for the benefit of people and the planet. Welcome to the Wealthy Woman Book Club. Dare to come in, woman. Come in. Join us at wealthywomanbookclub.com.
You know, we had a woman in the Wealthy Woman Book Club, and she's given me permission to share this without using her name. As we were reading this book, you know, she finished it and she said, you know, I think there's some things that I want to change with my investments. And she sent an email to her financial planner and said, I've joined this money book club. We just read this book, Girls That Invest. I'd like to add some more diversity to my portfolio. When can we meet to talk about this? Well, his response went something like this. There's a lot of books written out there on diversification, and most of them get it wrong. Investing is really
Ooh.
complicated. I have 30 years of experience, and there's a reason why I have stocks X, Y, and Z in this account because I'm taking into account this account over here and this account over here and your entire portfolio. So
Oh.
she came to us and said, "How do I respond to this?" And I'm like, "Okay, well let me tell you what he just politely said to you. Isn't that cute that you and your little friends are learning about investing? Look, honey, I've been doing this for 30 years, so why don't you just leave me alone and let me do my job?"
Oh, you gave
And
her
she
such a
said,
polite answer.
I mean, he basically said that
Yeah,
in nicer
that's true.
terms. And she's like, thank you for saying that because that was the feeling that I got when I read this email.
Yeah.
That was the feeling that I got when I read his email. And, you know, she responded back and said, you know, I'm not questioning your investment advice or your experience. I would just like to be more hands on with my investment decisions. Well, guess what? He didn't return her call. He never said, okay, let's set something up. None of that.
Oh, man, that is a major, major, major red flag. I mean, it's like, whoops, it may be time to fire this financial advisor. Well, that's what I'm thinking anyway.
Yes, yes. And this flows in beautifully to the next point that I want to make. What are the red flags that you should watch out for in a financial planner so that you don't hire the wrong one, or also know when to fire a financial
Yeah,
advisor?
yeah.
And, you know, if you feel brushed aside, if you feel ignored or disrespected, those are red flags. Now, had this advisor responded and said, I am so glad that you are learning about investing. most of my clients don't take the time to do this. And I find that an educated investor is a better client for me. Let's sit down and talk about your investments. I'll explain your current strategy and why I've done what I've done, and then you've got the final say, and if you want to change anything, then we'll take care of it. That's all he had to say.
Yeah.
And she would have felt seen and heard and respected. So she's now interviewing other financial planners, and this guy lost out big time because the account that she has with him now is relatively small. But her husband just quit his job and is looking for a new job and has a several $100,000 401k that's going to need to be rolled over into an IRA and managed. And so,
Mm.
guess who just missed out because he disrespected somebody because he thought she was small potatoes and she didn't know what she was talking about.
Yeah. I
So,
like that though. I like that advisor lost out on that. I'm just going to admit my own personal satisfaction on that one. Okay.
yeah. So, if you're asking questions or you challenge a recommendation and it's met with defensiveness, dismissiveness, or talking in circles, that is a problem.
Yeah.
The other thing that's a problem is if the general market is doing really well and your portfolio is not. That
Mm.
is also a red flag. And that was the red flag that I found when I had to let go my financial advisor. So I had read
Ah.
Tony Robbins' book, Money Master the Game. And one of the things he talked about in there was the fees relative to different types of mutual funds. And there was a website where you could actually like plug in your funds and
Yes.
it would show you and it would say, okay, here's the funds, here's the fees that are in your funds versus if you just did low cost index investing,
Mm-hmm.
then this is what it would be. I plugged everything in. If I had stayed with my current advisor with the current investments that she had Nick and I in, just the overpayment of fees compounded over 20 years. Do you want to guess what that
I'm
number
afraid
was?
to. I'm afraid to. You
It was a
just tell me.
it was a $250,000.
Holy criminy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like,
Wow.
I got over the fact that I didn't want to feel bad breaking up with a friend.
Mm.
I was like, I like you, but I don't like you that much.
Yeah.
Not $250,000. I was like, no, I don't think our friendship is worth that much.
No, I think it's time for us to kind of change our relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, I looked at all those funds and I analyzed everything and I realized that they were all what I call house funds. So they were all the branded funds for the firm that she was working with.
Gotcha.
So she basically got extra for pushing the home company's funds versus other funds that were
Yeah.
available on the market. Plus, she was getting a percentage on top of that. And many of the funds were underperforming in their sector. So
Whoa.
I met with two different financial advisors. Oddly enough, they were both named Darren.
Oh, that is
Just
weird.
kind of spelled differently. I met with both of them. They confirmed my suspicions. I really liked both of them. And I told Nick, I said, all right, you have the deciding factor. We are going to meet with each of these people together. I said,
Hmm.
I've already pre interviewed them. I said, I think either of them will do a fantastic job. And I let him have the final say. I still refer business to both of them because the other Darren is a flat fee and he actually specializes in attorneys. Like that's his sweet spot,
Ah,
attorneys who own their own law firm.
yeah.
So I still refer business to him, and vice versa. He sends clients over for financial coaching. So, but I told Nick, I said, you've got to make that final choice, because I won't have you uninvolved, because if I die, you need to get along with Darren. And what's cool, what is very cool, which did not happen with the other advisor, is that sometimes Nick will call Darren and ask him about something.
Oh, nice. Well,
Yeah.
I just want to say, as a husband, I want to give you acknowledgement that you gave your husband a choice where he couldn't make a bad choice. I
Yeah.
want to thank you on behalf of all of the husbands out here. Thank you
Well,
very much,
I
Christine.
couldn't say we have to meet with these 12 people. That would not go over well. So, the other thing we want to be careful of, and we were talking about this in the Wealthy Woman Book Club, because there were some women who have been offered some investments that are outside of the traditional ones, and they're like, ooh, like, how do you know?
Yeah.
Beware of people peddling once in a lifetime opportunities, which are the next Amazon or the next Apple.
Oh, yeah.
Be careful when money is invested outside of your brokerage account. So, my brokerage account with Schwab, my financial advisor, Darren, he has authorization to buy and sell things in my account. He does not have authorization to withdraw money. He can only put money back and forth between my checking account and the brokerage account. So it never
Yeah.
flows outside of an account with my name on it. So he never has the cash in something outside. You should not be looking at investments outside of your brokerage account or rental real estate or anything like that until you are maxing out your retirement investments. If you're putting in the max amount to your 401k and you're maxing out Roth IRAs, then you can start looking into stuff outside of that. I mean, there are investments outside of the stock market, outside of the brokerage, but you really should not be messing with that kind of stuff
Mm,
and until you've really maximized the traditional investments. And you can own things like crypto inside of your investment accounts.
yes.
They have crypto funds, you can own individual crypto inside. So, but, I've had people offer some very interesting things, whether it's ownership in a business, etc. You just want to be careful. So, one of the ladies, she was in a meeting and someone was offering, it was basically kind of like a private IPO.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and so she asked for some information and she was looking over the documents, and it was like, she said, I could tell that this was made on LegalZoom, and there were like some typos, and there were some things that, like, there were some red flags that I was like, this seems pretty scammy to me.
Yeah. No.
So you want to be careful with that and trust your gut. Yes, financial advisors are experts on investing, but it's your money and you have the final say. Breaking up with your advisor can feel uncomfortable, but if you're not with someone who's taking good care of you and your money, it's going to hurt you in the long run. And I know as women, we've been conditioned to not hurt people's feelings and to be nice. And we've had this conversation multiple times in the Wealthy Woman Book Club where someone's like, well, I just hired this person and it's only been 6 months, but I really don't think the person is for me. But I kind of feel bad. And there's only a little bit of money in there. And I'm like, it's your money. I was like, you do not have to feel bad. You can just move the money, close the account. You don't owe them an
Yeah.
explanation. But we as women we have been taught that we're responsible for other people's feelings. And we're not.
You're not. You're
So
not.
So here is my gold nugget here. If you wouldn't rehire your financial advisor, it might be time to fire them.
Good golden nugget.
Yep.
Good golden nugget.
So hiring a financial advisor, it is a big decision and it's an important one. So do your research, take the time to hire the person who deserves a long-term position on your money team.
Yeah. No, and I give it a big hearty yes, amen to all of that. That is absolutely right. And I really like the fact that you've emphasized that you are hiring someone to do a job, and that might help people when they think about this and understand the nature of the relationship a little better. So
Yeah,
thank you for doing that. Absolutely.
you are most
So
welcome.
people who might be curious after listening to this episode to have a conversation with you or to explore your financial coaching a little bit, how do they reach out to you, Christine?
Yeah. The best way is to hop over to my website, christineluken.com/apply, and they can set up a free 15-minute chat and we can talk about it.
That'd be great. And you mentioned the Wealthy Woman Book Club several times during
Mhm.
this episode. Is that still open to people, or how do people connect
Absolutely.
with that? Where do they go?
Yeah, people can hop in anytime. If you go to my website, christineluken.com, you'll see Wealthy Woman Book Club is right up there on the top, or you can go to wealthywomanbookclub.com and that will take you to the book club page on the website.
Yeah, and I want to just, you don't have to be wealthy, right? You don't have to be a
That is
wealthy
correct.
person to be, as in rich, to join this book
Right.
club, do you?
No, no. It's open to women of all ages and incomes who have a desire to do better financially for themselves, for their family, and for the world. Because the ladies in the Wealthy Woman Book Club are a generous, big hearted bunch of women.
That's great. That is great. The other thing that you can do, folks, if you're listening for the first time and you haven't been a regular listener, hit the subscribe button. That way, every time Christine drops a new episode of the Money is Emotional podcast, you'll be notified and you can give it a listen. You can also tell people about it. If you like it, tell people about it. Word of mouth promotion's terrific tool. It's a wonderful tool. It's kind of like I know a guy or I know a gal kind of thing.
Yep.
So please share. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. And on behalf of Christine, I'm Bill Tucker, her producer. I want to thank you for listening today. And I will remind you as we go out that you can go out today and make today a great day or not. It's your choice. Until next time.
Thank you for listening to the Money is Emotional podcast. To get in touch, visit our website at www.christineluken.com or drop us a line at hello@christineluken.com. And don't forget to click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Christine Luken. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing or tax advice. Always seek the advice of your advisor, tax professional, or other qualified financial professional with any questions you may have regarding your personal finances.